Hey everyone, Pete from Abstract Ocean. Today we're installing UV reactive PPF. So in this video we're doing it on the front of the Highland, Model 3 Highland or Refresh Model 3. But the principle is obviously the same for all the cars. I'll do two videos, one for the front or headlights and then another for the rears or the tail lights. The fronts are easy, the rears are quite difficult, and arguably you get less benefit from the rears in terms of the look. But either way, your choice. So in the box you get some alcohol wipes, you get a soap solution. Yours will not be full, it will have the soap in there, so just add water and then you're good to go. And then a squeegee. And then this is the UV reactive PPF. It's 7.5mm, 4-layer PPF, self-healing, so same sort of thing you're familiar with. So it gives you two benefits. One is it'll darken when it's sunny, and it'll be light or clear when it's dark or not sunny. And then of course the other benefit is protection as well, so it'll help resist stone chips, that sort of thing, on your headlights. So it is peeing down with rain here. If there's any UV out there at all, it's not going to be enough to make a difference. So I've got this little UV flashlight that we use to see where the dogs pee in the house. So this is just kind of giving a quick demo of what it does under UV light. So hopefully you can see that. Obviously the more UV, the darker it becomes, but really you just need a decent amount of daylight or sunlight to darken up pretty good. So that's how it works. We're going to install it on the front left, front right, sorry about that, my other left. And you don't need anything for the front, you don't need a heat gun or anything like that, just patience. So we'll speed through some bits on the video, but you'll see me kind of just working out all the bubbles as we go. Alright, so with that, let's get to the headlight. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is clean this. This car hasn't been used very much, so other than some dust and pollen, it's pretty clean. But obviously if you've got bug splats or anything on there, you need to make sure you get those off completely before you apply the PPF, otherwise you'll get bubbles and lumps that you'll never be able to get rid of. As always, when you're applying PPF to an area that's surrounded, just gently clean up the paintwork in the immediate vicinity as well, so that if there's any dust or dirt on there, you don't pick it up with the PPF. This is a fairly simple shape, the headlights, so it shouldn't be too bad. Okay, so make sure you pick the right piece. Obviously I've already done one, so we've only got this one piece, but you can see that shape follows. Especially on the Highland, this is a very almost symmetrical shape. You can almost draw a line down here, so just sort of double check that you have it in the right spot. So I'm going to spray everything with the slip solution. If you want to make your own, then it's just 5% dish soap and the rest is water. Cheap dish soap is fine, you don't need or want anything fancy, in fact. Okay, get rid of that. Just spray the rest of this. All right, and then what we're going to do is just apply it onto the headlight. So you'll see it conforms pretty easily. As I say, the rear version of this does require some heat. It's a fairly complicated shape, especially on Highland. But for this front one, it's not too bad at all. So you'll see there's sort of two main areas, but you'll get a bubble here or somewhere on this turn here, you'll get one up here, and those should just work themselves out as we kind of release all the soap solution or slip solution. So for the first pass, it's obviously just going to move around quite a bit, so we're just going to squeegee it gently just to get the worst of the soap out from underneath. This is nothing very sophisticated, but you can see the little soap bubbles, so you want to try and work some of those out. So at this point it'll still slip around fairly easily, and what we want to do, we're looking at these corners, you don't want to have the corner exposed, otherwise eventually you'll just get dirt under there. So make sure it's correctly positioned, and the same on this bottom lip as well. I have pretty good lights in here. Do recommend always installing this indoors if you can, just to avoid any dust and wind and stuff like that. I actually did an install on a Model Y a couple of weeks ago outside to kind of give you the so-called outside experience, and it was pretty rough. I don't know if I'll ever release that video. If I do, then I'll link it down below. But either way, just try and do it where you have a much more controlled environment like we do in here. Okay, so I think we're pretty well lined up. So I'm going to work on this part first, just to kind of get it locked in place. And I'll speed through this, but all I'm doing is just kind of, there's some little bubbles you can see, it's just the soap. So I'm working all of those out, just going over the entire surface. Alright, so back with us. This bit's done now pretty much. So now we're going to work on this bit. So you can see really the only proper bubble we have, or sort of, I don't know what you call that. It's not crease line, but it's just there. So we're going to try and sort of maneuver it around just a little bit, see if we can sort of almost stretch it out as we apply the PPF. This is the easiest way to just work it out. So let's work that down there. We're going to work this bubble out up here, and just bring this back along here. So as it dries, you'll see you're kind of fighting it a little bit because it won't adhere very well until we've got all the soap solution out. If you wanted to sort of accelerate it a little bit, you can obviously go grab a hairdryer or a heat gun, but again, you don't need it for this, and if you can avoid that, all the better. You always run the risk of just overheating the PPF if you're not familiar with working with it. I should say at this point, I'm far from an expert at working with the PPF, so what you're seeing here in terms of an installation difficulty, on a scale of 1 to 10, the front headlights are probably a 3 or maybe a 4, but really very straightforward. I'm just going to grab a shop rag. Get rid of some of the soap. And you can see we're pretty much done. Just this one here, just to work out. So I'm just going to stick my thumb over it for a second, which obviously applies just a little bit of gentle heat, but at the same time, just kind of squeegee out the edge a little bit while we're waiting. You can see it's still moving around. So once you've done this, once you've completed the install, go ahead, if you can, and park it outside in the sun, and that will kind of finalize the installation. Even if it's not particularly warm, as long as it's sunny, that'll help evaporate anything else that's left underneath the PPF. If for some reason the weather's just not going to cooperate, then don't drive the car until it has been allowed to dry. So generally speaking, if you're leaving it like this, having done the installation, leave it overnight and it'll be fine in the morning to go about your business. Okay, so as I mentioned, it's pouring with rain here, but I'll cut now to sort of a demo of what it looks like when it's dark outside, but that's how you install the UV reactive PPF for, in this case, Model 3 Highland. We hope to offer it for more vehicles very soon as well. Thank you for watching.